The European Union has allocated the first millions of euros to establish a special tribunal that will prosecute the criminal Putin and other Russian leaders for starting the war in Ukraine. The end of impunity is near. That marks an unprecedented international legal initiative that sends a clear message to the Kremlin. Aggression will be held accountable. Well, you can find more information in our report. My name is Yevhen Sirov, and this is the Glavred channel. Subscribe and give us a like. Let's get started. On the evening of January 22nd, 2026, the EU High Representative for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy, Kaja Kallas, announced that the EU had allocated the first 10 million euros for the operation of a special tribunal on the crime of aggression by Russia against Ukraine. This EU funding is already part of an agreement with the Council of Europe, under whose auspices the tribunal is being established. Today, the EU has allocated the first 10 million euros for the new special tribunal to hold Russian leaders accountable for their role in Moscow's war against Ukraine. The Russian leadership is responsible for this war, and they must be held accountable. There can be no impunity, Kallas emphasized. This special tribunal is being established not as a replacement for the International Criminal Court, but within a separate legal framework under the auspices of the Council of Europe, so that aggression as a crime against the sovereignty of Ukraine can be the subject of a separate investigation and judicial proceedings. The idea arose as part of the agreements signed in June 2025 between Ukraine and the Council of Europe on the establishment of such an institution. 39 countries, as well as the European Union itself and the Council of Europe, have joined the work on creating the special tribunal. According to representatives of the EU and its partners, this is an important legal and symbolic response to the millions of deaths, destruction, and suffering caused by Russia's invasion. Previously, the creation of the tribunal had repeatedly been under threat due to a lack of funding, and even Western media reported on the risks that a budget failure could delay the launch of the process. But now, the EU appears to have moved to concrete action by transferring the first significant tranche. It is planned that this tribunal will consider the crime of aggression, a category that allows for holding accountable those who started the war, including those who made the decision for the full-scale invasion. Such a legal definition is crucial in order to, for the first time in the history of international law, consider the aggressor responsible for the very fact of aggression, and not just for the consequences of individual war crimes. Preliminary steps towards establishing the special tribunal had already been taken earlier. In 2025, the leaders of Ukraine's allied countries unanimously approved the idea of creating an international institution to hold the Russian leadership accountable, which became a powerful political signal in support of justice. In October 2025, the EU's chief diplomat in Kyiv already announced the first allocations of funds for the special tribunal and assistance to those affected by deportation and sexual violence related to the war. Despite the fact that the exact timeline for the tribunal's commencement is still unknown, and the creation process still requires political, legal, and financial support from international partners, it can already be said that the EU has moved on to the practical implementation of this legal initiative. Ukrainian leader Volodymyr Zelensky previously criticized the rather slow steps taken by international partners to hold Putin accountable for the war he started during his speech in Davos. But while the tribunal is only just being launched, the fact of the first major budget contribution proves to us that the international community is taking practical steps toward accountability for international aggression.